It's 28 degrees Celsius in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. Good morning and welcome to Sunrise Daily, your daily dose of sunshine. I hope you had a great weekend. I'm Ogun Yusuf, and you're welcome to the program.
And I'm Ayo Makinde. It's 27 degrees in Lagos, interestingly. We're still surfing the warmth and everything. And it would seem like we're segueing gradually into that Harmattan season a number of people have been talking about. Today is November 17, the second half of the month of November. And of course, you know, Markwe, that the countdown has begun, right?
The countdown to what precisely now?
To Christmas. Come
because
on.
We're still in the month of November, Ayo.
It has begun.
We're not even yet in the 20s.
I saw one community, they already started the decorations showing that it's Christmas already. So what exactly? What are we talking about? Come on, it's almost Christmas.
I guess people are just trying to get their money's worth. Because when you think about how expensive those decorations are and the fact that you have them for such a short period, you might as well start early.
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe a countdown of sorts has begun. But, yes, this morning we were counting down to the People's Democratic Party convention, which we're wondering whether it will hold or not hold in Ibadan. Well, Ayo, it eventually held in your city. And quite a number of reactions have now trailed that convention. We saw that not only did the convention hold, seeing the election of a new leadership for the party, we also saw the expulsion of some members of the PDP from the party. It was a motion moved by a chieftain of the party from Lagos State, Chief Bode George, and this is the reason that he gave.
Section 40, as amended, and are to be bound by its fundamental principles and aspirations as expressed in its constitution. The mentioned above have committed various breaches of the party's constitution, including support and canvassing for vote for candidates of election, conducting illegal and parallel congresses, sponsoring litigations against the party, most recent of which suit number C, ABJ, CS 2120, dated 2025, between Honorable Austin Wachuku and others, versus INEC and others, seeking to stop the 2025 elective national convention for no just cause, contrary to Article 58, subsection 1 and subsection J of our Constitution. In that case, Senator Samuel Ayahu, Ebu Umar Bature, Kamal Din Adeyemi Ajibade ingloriously supported Wike and others to ensure that the 2025 National Convention did not hold. The party has completely lost its esteem, regard, and respect in the eyes of the public on account of despicable conduct of the former governor of Rivers State and these men he recruited to help him destroy the party, contrary to Articles 58, subsection 1, subsection B, and subsection I of our Constitution. I, Chief Olabode George, hereby move that that this convention should expel this person so mentioned above from the People's Democratic Party. I so move.
PDP! Power to the people! Thank you. I now put the question on this motion for the expulsion of some officers listed 1 to 11, beginning with Edo Wike, Ayo Payoshe, Senator Samuel Anyayu, Honorable Umar Bature, Ademi Ajibade, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Senator Mao, Honorable Austin Wachuku, Abraham Ama, George Dana, Chief Dan Obi, for the expulsion as per the motion raised ably by our elder statesman, citing our constitutional provisions as enumerated, that is Chief Olabode George, and ably seconded by my chairman, Mrs. Adamu Bunga. Those in support of this motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Thank you.
It's interesting, Markwe, that, this is where it has come to. And I don't even know if we can say that it's a surprise, because, the first thing that came to my mind as I was watching that report was to remember that a member of this party had said that the PDP was going to govern Nigeria for another 60 years or thereabout. But here we are. How many years now? 10 years into, getting out of federal power. This is where the party has come to. And there are those who point to the fact that the travails of the party didn't just start now. It started way back, as far back as 2011 and all of that. So have those issues been resolved? Clearly not. Now, there are also questions around whether or not the party followed due process in expelling the members. There was no disciplinary committee. I heard, Honorable Bagos saying earlier on our sister program, there was no disciplinary committee set up. There was no action to ask questions from these people before they were expelled. And I also remember that there was a reconciliatory committee set up by the party, whether or not it was reconciliatory, whether or not it was peacemaking. I don't know if we've heard anything from that. Maybe those are some of the questions we'll be asking from in the next conversation that we're going to be having, Malcolm, because there are questions around whether or not the party is able to pull itself together. Pulling some people out is one thing. Bringing other people is another thing altogether. So many questions to ask, Mark, where I don't even know where we're going to begin.
Indeed, Ayo, we're expecting any moment from now to be joined by Mr. Dare Adeleke, who's a special advisor to the governor of Oyo State and the immediate past caretaker committee chairman in Edo State. While we wait for him to join up the conversation, we do have reactions that have now come in as a result of that particular convention and some of the decisions that were taken there. We saw the governor of Adamawa State, Umar Fintiri, dissociate himself from the expulsion of Mr. Wike, as well as a number of other party loyalists, including the suspended, it's unclear now, but it will seem that he's the national secretary of a faction of the PDP, Senator Samuel Anyawu, as well as Mr. Ayo Fayoshi. So quite a number of reactions have come in. We also saw yesterday the governor of Plateau State, who is also a member of the PDP, dissociate himself from the decisions that were reached by the convention. And then there are also questions as to whether or not the legality of that convention had been taken care of, because there were claims that INEC did not go to witness that particular convention. So it raises questions about the legality of the convention. So quite a number of things to dig into this morning as we're joined by Mr. Dari Adeleke. So, Mr. Adeleke, good morning and thank you so much. We did try to see if we could see you, but he joins us via telephone this morning. It does appear that we're unable to link with you with your visuals, but these are some of the reactions that we have now heard and seen. These are some of the reactions that we have heard and seen as fallout of the convention. And quite a number of people are wondering whether the decisions reached on Saturday will be able to stand the test of time and also stand for legality in a court of law.
Can you repeat the question? I'm just joining right now. Sorry about that.
Oh, dear. Okay, so I was asking if, given all that has transpired in Ibadan, the convention has now come and gone, but reactions have already started coming in, too, from governors, the governors of Plateau and also of Adamawa State, dissociating themselves from some of the decisions reached at that convention. And, people also saying, did INEC witness or not witness the convention as we are wondering, it's a matter of speculation now, it's unclear. Some people say INEC was there, some people say no, INEC wasn't there. So can you tell us how it is that this convention is going to stand in the face of law and how members of the party who were at that convention are viewing the reactions of the governor of Adamawa and Plateau?
Thank you very much. First and foremost, you should realize that democracy is for the people and by the people. It's not for individuals. And the majority will always have their ways, while the minority will have their say. And that's what we can discuss about the government that associates themselves from the motion Kibola body just raised. And the expulsion of those eminent PDP members. So, but the fact is that the PDP Congress, it was a celebration of like minds and celebrations of the democracy. That's exactly what we have the other day. As the legally Kibori judge pronounced the expulsion of those people, there was a loud celebration, which I haven't had. It was like expulsion. So people were jubilating. It was highly celebrated. So I can say that we had a very successful convention. And in regards to whatever anybody could say that the governor of Trinity or Governor Mutuan associated themselves, the fact that they are members of their delegates, they were there and they supported the motion.
It's interesting because some of the words that we are now attributed to them are pretty strong. Let me read that of the governor of Plateau. He described the Ibadan Convention as a needless distraction orchestrated by individuals bent on destabilizing the party. He says the PDP must focus on unity, not anarchy. So he sees the decisions that were taken at the convention in Ibadan as fostering anarchy.
That's quite unfortunate from the person that was at the Congress, that was the chairman of the subcommittee, that participated. As a matter of fact, there was a meeting before the motion was raised, which all the governors agreed. Of course, they objected to it, but it's only the two of them. There are 5 governors there. So as the governors are not the owners of the party, the delegates, over 5,000 delegates, wanted this expulsion to stand. And they made it very clear at the convention ground as the reason why these people should be expelled. And Nigerians have been expecting this. If truly we are going to make our party strong, we must take a very drastic action against those people that we mentioned. What is the basis of what is the grounds? They just wanted to kill the party because they were agents of APC. Simple. And that's nothing else. But what are their grounds? Okay, we said we wanted to have a convention. You said we shouldn't have a convention. So that we will not be able to have candidates, either presidential candidates or whatever it is. And based on the conceptuality of the electoral house, our convention rules, either the INEC was there or not. That's it. So it's just a matter of the INEC was not there, INEC was there, this and that. That doesn't come up. The most important thing, we have a very vibrant convention. We challenge the APC to come out again. Let them have such convention. but they always have their own purpose and own coupons. That's what normally have to elect to put in their chairman. I don't know when last. The PDP is highly democratic. That's exactly what is elected.
So if I understand you correctly, you are saying that it doesn't matter whether or not INEC monitors a convention.
It really matters. That is the based on the Electoral Act. It's at their discretion. And based on the Electoral Act, that says that, well, INEC may, at their discretion, they may come or not, if they like. But the fact is that we are giving them 21 notice as stipulated by the Electoral Act. So the fact the Labour Party held a convention was in 2024. They haven't been up for, and they had the election. So they cannot say that because we did not, the INEC was not there. This convention is for the people by the people, not for the INEC, not for the APC, because that is the truth.
All right, my colleague Ayo has questions for you as well. Ayo.
Thank you. Well, Mr. Adeleke, let's begin with the question of what you think is going to happen now that even governors of the PDP who are not leaving the party are divided on this particular convention. What are your thoughts on that? Was there a position of the party at the convention on what will happen to particularly governors and other big political leaders who did not attend the convention?
Oh dear, Mr. Ade, I understand that you might not be able to hear my colleague, so let me take this particular question. How would you say, I mean, because this convention, it was unclear whether or not it was going to hold, given the multiple legal decisions that had been reached, you know, asking this convention not to hold. We saw that of Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court. We also saw that from Justice Peter Lifu's court, saying that the convention should be suspended pending the hearing of some substantive suit having to do with the sale of forms to the former governor of Jigawa State. Yet, the convention went ahead. If it is challenged in a court of law, that's the holding of this convention, do you think that it will be able to stand?
Definitely it will stand. Definitely it will stand. The same court of judicial gave its own verdict as well, which is Edo State High Court. And then it was the same jurisdiction. So let's wait. I don't really want to dwell much on the issue of the courts, because I know that you've been saying yesterday. I had some of your programs. People really dwell so much on it. But what I can tell you is that we had a convention, and it is we did not violate any law. We didn't violate any law. So we are happy that we had the election. The election went very well. And if it comes, let's wait for the court decision when the time comes. We will challenge it. We'll challenge it, and we'll appeal wherever it could be appealed.
How competitive would you say? Because we also see that a new chairman is said to have emerged at that particular convention. The former Minister of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Affairs, Saminu Tira, he emerged as a new chairman, and Ambassador Taufik Arakbaja elected National Secretary. And a number of people say these were consensus candidates, that these were people who were pre-decided before the convention took place. And it could also put, I mean, even if you were to, the legality were to stand, for the other people who really try to buy forms or be a part of the process, that it could pose a problem that there was no competition of sorts, and that, you know, there was just an endorsement, so to speak.
But you know that there will be time for certain programs. There was a program, there was a timetable, for the you want to obtain the form, you have from so date to so date. So this people, they did not, make any moves to buy any form. So after the closure of the form, that was when our leader, Jigawa, former Jigawa State governor, wanted to have his own form. And that means that we are going to have this valid timetables. So, but we had a consensus. Even actually, that shows that if this is the same person, Jigawa said it to publicly, that he will be in PDP and will support the APC. We cannot put our own party at a risk. So with due respect, whatever happens to him, he has already challenged us in court, and we are going to challenge it in appeal. So that is my stand.
This convention has finally held. Today is the Monday after the convention. What are the next steps for your party now?
Our next step is to bring everybody together and to set up the true reconciliation committee, and where everybody and the people that we feel that they are agreed will come together, and then we can now forge ahead to rebuild our party, because they are damaged the party, especially from Governor Wike. Wike being used by the government of today to destroy the party. So we'll definitely go back to the drawing board and do the right thing.
All right, Mr. Daria Adeleke, we hope to catch up with you. Perhaps we can invite you to the studio and have a more robust engagement with you. We have to thank you for sharing your thoughts this morning with us. Mr. Daria Adeleke is a special advisor to the governor of Edo State and also the immediate past caretaker committee chairman of the party in Ekiti State. Thank you once more for speaking with us.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me. Thank you. Bye.
Well, we'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll be going to Edo State, where the governor of the state, Mr. Monday Okpebholo, is clocking a year in office and looking back on his accomplishments in Edo State. So, of course, we expect to hear from the people of Edo, those in Nigeria and those in diaspora, on what you make of 1 year of Governor Monday Okpebholo. In just a moment, please stay with us. Well, indeed, I did say we're switching gears to Edo State, and we're hoping that we'll hear from our viewers, especially those from Edo State. I know you might have your questions and your reactions as to how it is that the new governor, yes, he's relatively new, just spending a little over a year in office. We're joined now by his Commissioner for Information in Edo State, Mr. Kasim Afegwa. Good morning and welcome to Sunrise Daily.
Good morning. Thanks
for
having me.
Quite a lot to say about the 1 year, or quite a lot to ask about the 1 year in office of Governor Monday Okpebholo, who, what do we say now? He came in at a time when there was some rancor, started to brew between the governor, the executive arm of government, and also the Omona Banedo. We're still dealing with that. I guess the new administration inherited that. And the fallout is still very prevalent in terms of what has happened with the management of the museum. There's museum controversy brewing. But there are a number of other issues in terms of what Senator Monday Okpebholo promised the people of Edo State, as well as what he is currently delivering. How would you say that he's fared in this first 1 year as governor of Edo State?
Well, his first 365 days, I would say that he has done creditably well, based on what we met on ground, what we inherited from his predecessor. And before we took over office, we were hearing all kinds of rhetorics, news. Oh, Edo economy has hit 10 billion. They were describing it in very glowing terms. But when we came on board, we saw the decay in infrastructure, the rot in schools, even at a time when they were telling us about Edo Best as something novel, which they have also extended to other states to copy from. But we came on board and we saw that schools were in shambles, no tables, no chairs in classrooms and all of that. So the health sector was nothing to write home about. Security was a huge challenge. And so I didn't actually envy Senator Monday Okpebholo taking over from that kind of background in terms of the reality that stared us in the face. But he's been able to pick up the gauntlet. He's been able to put on his thinking cap, and he's been able to intervene in critical sectors of the Edo economy, largely the area of education. At the time we were celebrating 365 days, he had completed about 68 schools, totally rebranded, refixed, tables and chairs and all of that. He's also working on a number of roads. I heard you the other day when you were talking about the flyover. It's the first time we're having a flyover in Ramat Park because of the traffic gridlock that is always peculiar with that particular area of the city. We have also commenced the one at Adesua Road on Adesua Junction on Sapele Road, area of the state. We have been doing other roads, the Ekewan Road down to the S&T Barracks, down to Gelegele. We have finished one section of it completely. We were to commission it, but the governor insisted that no, we should finish everything down to Gelegele before we commission it. That is going to take about 42-kilometer network. We have finished about 20-something kilometer of that. We have done roads in Akoko Edo, Kakuma area. We are working on Temboga Road down to Uniben so that there will be an alternative road from Upper Mission down to the bypass so that people can save the hassles of going through Bowo axis to escape through Oluku. We have also consistently, invested in primary health care. As at the time we were doing 365 days, we had completed 60 brand new primary health care, and we are taking that number to 146 based on the governor's own agenda. In the area of security, when he came on board, that was the first thing he tackled. He recruited 2,500 Edo sons and daughters and trained them. That is the military. The military trained them so that they can acquire the relevant skills, and they've since been deployed to the 18 local governments. That is under the Edo Security Corps. He also gave the police 60 brand new Helos vans to assist their mobility in combating crimes and criminality. He also bought recently about 400 motorcycles to access roads and nooks and crannies where vehicular movement will be a little bit difficult. He has recovered some of the roads that were hitherto abandoned, for which signboards were erected on them saying, "We are sorry, this is federal government road, blah, blah, blah." We are unable to fix them because it's federal government. Now that,
so he's taking on federal government roads?
Of course. He's doing them based on agreement with the Minister for Works and Housing, Engineer Devu Mahi. But of course, you know the pattern. If you fix those roads, you can claim refund from the federal government. But to leave them would be to be punishing the Edo people consistently, even when we know that federal government is not coming to apply those rules. Those rules are meant for Edo people.
It's interesting, because Edo is is the heartbeat. That's the
slogan.
The slogan of Edo State, the heartbeat of the nation, and it's almost like a transit, a place where a lot of it's a transit state where a lot of roads converge, and it is important that a road network is viable within the city. But I noticed you said something. You said security was a concern in the tail end of the Obaseki administration. Some people will say security is still a major concern, even within the Okpebholo administration, with the kidnap of some people in certain areas of the state. So security is an ongoing concern.
If you look at the trajectory and based on our own monitoring, you see that even the kidnapping you're talking about has dropped. And the governor's action, you can't eliminate it completely. It's an ongoing intervention that you have to be putting in place, because the kidnapper or the criminals will always want to think ahead of you. When you are bringing one issue, they are coming out from the other end. But your ability to intervene and provide measures that will mitigate the currency of it is what matters. And I give you a typical example. Like in Edo Central, we used to observe almost on a daily basis kidnapping. So the government had to meet with the military and pleaded that they should get some of their men to be part of the police formation. And so there is a command structure that has been set up in Uromi area. The governor provided accommodation and mobility vehicles and what have you. And so today you see that there is some level of stability and sanity in the Edo Central part of it. The Edo North, particularly in my village, only 2 weeks ago, the police deployed about 100 police personnel to that area because it's a border town. That also means that a lot of people come to commit crimes and they run back to the neighboring Edo State. So there's a lot of attention being given to that, and it's yielding results. In Edo South, the Benin, nightlife has returned. You can say that because when we came on board, almost every day they were killing 5, 6 people, 10 people, 9 people, and the governor asked, they are court members, rival courts, attacking themselves, killing themselves, and whatever. That was why he had to go to the assembly to tinker with the law and ensure that there is punitive measures are put in place. That will, yes.
One of the things I find really ridiculous with our, federal arrangement is that there's been a serious clamor for state policing. And we know that right now all police structures belong to the federal government. Yet, when it is that something happens in Edo State or any other state and, the criminals run out of the state, it will seem that the policemen under that command are hampered and cannot seem to pursue beyond the borders. Even though they are federal policemen, they shouldn't be hampered by any border. Is it something that we've thought of to challenge, to say, look, if these people, if they were state police officers, some people will say we understand that. But these are federal police officers. yes, they're under a state command, but they have federal jurisdiction.
Well, there is some level of collaboration. It is not as simplistic as letting people escape to the other state and saying that they will stop chasing them or seeking ways to arresting those persons. I think what is at issue is the fact that if you have a functional police system, when criminals are exiting or running away from one state to another, the responsibility will be to inform the sister state about what has happened. And we've had scenarios where some kidnappers were caught in Kogi State. Originally, they operated within Igara area of Akoko Edo, and because the police gave a chase and collaborated by the Kogi State police, they were able to apprehend them. It does happen that way. At times, we overlook some of these issues. People are talking about state police, state police, state police. Well, given the mentality of our orientation, given the fact that there's so much of power vested in governors of state, people are afraid that when they have opportunity to control state police, that they will use it against their political opponents and all that. So in creating a state police, we must deliberately mobilize and conscientize the citizenry to ensure that they are awake to their responsibility. Because I remember the Edo State Security Corps under Godwin Obaseki, when the elections were coming, you remember, he said anybody who arrests any of his members who have been found wanting, that Nigeria will burn. And I said his tigers and hyenas and lions and all of that. Yes, he said that. And that Nigeria will burn.
It's interesting.
Prior to the election. But we thank God that Nigeria didn't burn and Edo State didn't burn. The humility of Monday Okpebholo as a governor and the fact that he's very connected to the grassroots, if you give him a state police, I can tell you that he won't abuse them.
Well, we'll see whether that is eventually approved. State policing. But the point I was trying to make is that these are still federal police officers. I wonder why it is that they feel hampered, chasing, criminals beyond a state border. But the PDP, which is in opposition in your state, have been reacting to 1 year of Senator Monday Okpebholo. They say that the party that his administration or his 1 year has been marked by drift, decline, policy paralysis, and collapse of governance structures. They also say that his administration is mismanaging the state resources, adding that contracts are awarded with complimentary cards in the absence of a tenders board in the last 1 year, which speaks to process. So it is possible that the governor is doing something, but clearly it doesn't seem that due process or transparency is being followed.
Mark, let me quickly say this, that the PDP you are talking about is a faction of the PDP who are trying to still remain relevant and who wants their voice to be heard. But even if it were to be a single individual raising those posters, we'll have a response to them. First, there's a tenders board in place. There's procurement office in place.
Is it functional?
Very functional. And it will shock you that the report of our transition committee that we got, their own chairman of the procurement board wrote in his report that their contracts were largely, not following due process. That is the report of our transition committee where we interface with government. The report they gave us, it was written in black and white there. So that is the same party that has the guts to be raising concerns. No problem. They said there is policy paralysis, but we are working and they are saying it. The other day they said, why are we building flyover? That we should go and fix roads. And I asked, I said, if you had fixed the roads as you claim that you are done, which roads are we going to be fixing? They say, oh, why are you putting flyover in Adesuwa junction? Why not go and fix GRA roads? Oh, you knew that GRA roads were just 12 months ago and you couldn't fix them, and now you are telling us to go and fix them. So it's a matter of choice. We are intervening in some critical infrastructure to the point that it will impact on mobility across the state. We are not going to be distracted or bogged down by the rantings of PDP renegades who are largely factionalized. There's Legacy Group, there's Obaseki Group, there's also Godalo's Group, and all of that. So which one are we going to be addressing? But the point must be made that there's policy drift. The 5,000 casual workers, the casual teachers that they employed, they recruited to take care of schools that they were talking about Edo Best. We have since absorbed them into Edo Civil Service, 5,000 teachers. We have since employed over 1,000 into the Edo Civil Service that they almost crippled because they made use of consultants in all their years in office. 41 agencies were created for those consultants. And it's now that we are unpacking them, trying to return back to the state civil service. Promotions were stagnated. People were not able to get promotion. In-service training were not there and all of that. But they are very good in rhetoric. They are very good in propaganda. No problem. This governor doesn't talk too much. It tells you, let us ask for people to see. If you say 5,000 is not a huge figure, they were holding salaries of staff of Ambrose Ali University 15 months. We have since cleared them. They were paying Ambrose Ali University 41 million naira subvention every month. We have increased that to 500 million. And you are telling which one is policy drift now? They didn't run Ambrose Ali University with a governing council. We have since done that, and we put Dan Obi as chairman of council. We have since given them a substantive vice chancellor, Professor Elizabeth, who is now presiding over the university. The one at Uzari, 1 naira, and I repeat, I say it, 1 naira from government for 8 years never got into that university. Edo State University, Uzari. And now we are giving them 250 million naira subvention, every month. So when they talk, we just laugh at their follies because it is easy for you to just run commentaries, but we welcome constructive criticism because it will help us to chart a roadmap to help Edo, because if Edo is better for it today, it is going to be for even the PDP people who are making all the noises and some other persons.
Let's go to Lagos. I know my colleague Ayo has questions for you.
Thank you, Marwe. Mr. Fegba, it's interesting that we are even talking about, some of these issues. If you don't mind, I'd want to take you away a little from Edo State. But before that, I have always had questions around continuity, particularly in situations where it's the same political party that is succeeding each other. It's a candidate from the same political party that is succeeding each other. Well, that's not the case in Edo State, even though it could have been the case, going by what we know in history. Now, one of the projects, and I think you have spoken a little about it, is this whole museum issue and all. The real issue for me is not just the back and forth, it's the sustainability of any project. I always talk about that because at the end of the day, what is important is that everyone, the people of Edo State in particular, can hold on to this and say, this is our own. In terms of sustainability, would you say that the museum issue, MOA on one hand, the Royal Museum on another, would you say that they are two different issues, or they are the same issue that need to be harmonized?
Thank you very much. I think a lot of people are too much in a hurry to actually, listen to us to know the story behind MOA. MOA started as a legacy restoration trust platform, and thereafter it became Edo Museum of West African Arts. Then later they changed it to Museum of West African Arts. In all of this, Edo State government, taxpayers' money, was invested in Edo Museum of West African Arts as a state government platform. They took memos to the ESCO, they debated it, they were approved, and all the withdrawals, payment for MOA, or MOA as the case may be, were actually from the state purse. The quantity surveyor gave a rundown of how much it will cost to erect the pavilion of the museum. And it stood at 4.1 billion in their records, the one we have. And out of that 4.1 billion, Edo State government paid 3.8 billion, with a shortfall of 300 million naira to balance. Now, if Edo State invested 3.8 billion in a museum, it should naturally be the property of the state and not anybody. But 8 days to their exit from power, they changed the name, removed E, which stands for Edo, and took it to Museum of West African Arts, and automatically overnight set up a trustees, headed by one Philip Ihianacho, who happened to be a staff of Obaseki's Afri-Invest company, representing them in London. Then another person, Barrister Chioke, who is the MD of Afri-Invest in Lagos, was also a member, and 2 other persons, one Elizabeth and one other person. So the point is, you cannot just surreptitiously, overnight, change the nomenclature of a particular project, and claim ownership in the way, by way of saying it is not a trustee. That means it's a not-for-profit organization. It is now run by trustees elected solely by you, and all that. So the question we are asking are in multiple folds. At the Corporate Affairs Commission, for example, what was the name that they registered? It was Edo Museum of West African Arts, not even as a trustees. That's the curious thing about that. So because they were too much in a hurry to, surreptitiously change some of these things, they left so many unanswered questions, for which we now have information, we have documents to show all of this. And so our position is that at Benin, when they were starting, Obaseki promised the Oba of Benin that they are in consultation with Benin Dialogue Group in Netherlands, where he had a meeting with them, that we are going to gift the Oba of Benin a museum that will be built in 3 years, starting from 2018 to 2021. And so the Oba was happy as a birthday gift, and that was a period that artifacts were being returned. German government returned 1,200 artifacts. Netherlands returned 119 artifacts, and so many other countries, Sweden, Norway, UK. So the understanding will be that if you are gifting the Oba of Benin a museum of that nature, it will be good for him to also use that platform to house all of these artifacts. But you never did that. You were carrying along Oba of Benin as soon as artifacts were coming, because these artifacts were also followed by some monetary assistance to help build a museum that will house those artifacts. You change the whole nomenclature, you change the whole pattern, and you now want to claim ownership. We asked during our asset verification exercise, for which I was a member, we asked the Philippine, why did you remove Edo? Because when you talk about Edo, what comes to your mind is culture. It's a community of people who are very culturally conscious and whose selling point is cultural heritage. So, and you cannot be talking about building a museum for Benin Kingdom without the kingdom, whether you like it or not, except you are being clever by half, trying to use a particular promise to deliver a separate end. So we have since discovered all of that. Those who contributed money, foreign donors and all of that, they should be asking questions from those who are the promoters of this MOA. That where is our money? Because the Edo State government funded and paid almost 95% of that project by virtue of the records that we have and by virtue of their own claims via their quantity surveillance submissions at ESCO.
Well, Mr. Febo, what we are saying is that
ask you, if you must straighten out the transactions and the underhand dealings concerning a MOA and Legacy Trust Fund before you begin to talk about issue of operation. And look, this is the curious thing about what they did on Sunday when they did a preview. The Edo State is the highest donor by virtue of 3.8 billion in their records because they have a plaque of what everybody contributed. Now, you invited your foreign donors that you were doing a preview on Sunday, and you refused to, that was on the 8th, yeah, on the 8th of November, and you refused to invite the chief donor, so to speak, the chief contributor to that particular event on that Sunday. You had informed us that you were going to open that place on Monday, which is on Tuesday 11th. Then on Sunday, you did a preview without informing us. The governor was away to Auchi to attend the Thanksgiving service and harvest of particular Catholic church. And when he put on his phone later, he's asking litany of phone calls and all that. Because I personally also called him when I had this. And he said he was not, nobody even briefed him about preview, but he's aware that they will be commissioning on the 11th. So that was what happened. And because of frayed nerves, tempers were high.
Okay,
had
so,
to,
Mr. Febo, my sincere apologies. So the question that I asked, and I thank you very much for the background and all, and I'm almost certain that the Obaseki team would probably also have their own position. One of the things that we had heard from the Obaseki team was that MOA is different from the Royal Museum, so maybe you want to speak to that. The question that I asked is, based on that, just a second, based on that position that we heard on the same program, the question that I'm asking is there a room for harmonizing both? So we have all of these issues, could be West African, could be global, whatever, so that there is just one, and everyone, you know, aligns with it. The second question you may want to ask is, since, as you said, the money used to put this up, you know, belongs to Edo State, is there a plan for a probe by the Edo State government?
Yes, let me quickly answer this one. There's a plan for probe. The proper investigation into that will be done based on what we now have in our hands, the documents we now have. People are going to be asked questions. They have to answer questions, very serious questions with issue of financial profligacy and malfeasance. And the issue of whether harmonized or no harmonized does not arise because Edo Museum of West African Arts is ab initio the property of Edo State government. Edo State government will take full charge of Edo Museum of West African Arts because the taxpayers' money was used to build that particular place, and the donor agencies, the countries that have contributed $1, $2, $2, $10, up to over $100, will now be asking questions from those who surreptitiously overnight changed the name from Edo Museum of West African Arts to Museum of West African Arts. Where have you spent our money? And this will also involve getting Interpol on board, getting EFCC, getting everybody. They must probe into it. And the governor has initially set up a committee headed by Senator Comrade Adams Oshomole that will preside over the initial backgrounding of this investigation before we hand over properly to EFCC and other, you know, anti-corruption agencies.
Isn't that preemptive, though? Because some people will say that you have already reached a decision. The explanation that they gave was that there are two separate, well, I say identities here. You're talking about MOA and also the British, beg your pardon, the Benin Royal Museum. They are two separate entities that, yes, indeed, they had initially pledged to build the Oba of Benin Museum, but that MOA came up because the donors had a different idea for what they wanted to do with their money.
No, Marco, it's very simplistic. I'm not talking about Benin Royal Museum now. I am talking about Edo Museum of West African Arts, EMOA, and Museum of West African Arts. You understand?
One has transited to become the other.
EMOA was predominantly funded by Edo taxpayers' money. Then overnight before they left, that was on the 8th of November, 2024, that's 3 days before they left, they changed that name to MOA, Museum of West African Arts. But as smart as they tried to be, they couldn't change the papers.
You say it's funded by Edo taxpayers' money.
Yes.
But they contest that, because if you say that it is the people of Edo who can, then where do we situate the funding? That
is the question that the investigators will be asking. Because I've told you, the submissions from their quantity surveyor of how much it would take to build the entire pavilion was 4.1 billion. It's there in black and white. We have it. We have communications, we have all the memos submitted and this thing. Then Edo, out of that money, paid 3.8 billion. And the tranches are also spelled out. 800 million, 1 billion, 600 million, this, based on the progress of that pavilion.
But it has been built.
It's been built. So it has to be our property.
So what exactly is the bone of contention?
That is the question. We are not contending it. We are always saying that hand over to Edo State government what belongs to Edo people. Simple. But instead of converting it overnight to yourselves, you appoint your staff from everywhere. How did you choose people who are the trustees? You single-handedly did that without even consulting the state government that funded 95% of that project. So those are the questions we'll be asking them. So as far as we are concerned, we are not battling anything, but the donors who have contributed so much should be asking Obaseki, Hianacho, and others, where is our money? Because on records, this is what obtains.
Well, clearly, this controversy is yet to be put to bed. So we will see just how...
There's no controversy. It's just a matter of putting the records straight.
That's what I'm saying.
Know that where you want to...
So while we wait for records to be straight, it remains controversial. So we'll wait and see how things are eventually straightened out, particularly on this matter, and how the people of Edo State get their voices heard in terms of how their governor has performed in his first 1 year in office. We have to thank you for coming on the program this morning. Mr. Kasim Afebwa is the Commissioner for Information in Edo State. And that's where we lay to bed Monday's edition of Sunrise Daily. Thank you so much for being a part of today's program. I'm Maokbe Ogun Yusuf.
It's interesting that you laid emphasis on the fact that today is Monday. And we just finished talking about it Monday. Anyway, I'm Ayo Makinde. Enjoy the rest of your day.